Friends with former library director Walter de Jura in the late 60s, Rick Fee has compiled a large collection of vintage movie posters.
Sitting here with Walter de Jura. My name is Rick Fee, and together we hung the poster exhibit that you can see behind us, which we titled Vintage Hollywood Posters. My friendship with Walter goes back to 1968, when he was in his 10th year as the director of the Hingham Public Library, and kind enough to show a student film that I had made at Hingham High School, right here in the library.
At the library, we were looking for programs to expand community interest. This seemed like an ideal opportunity to show something that I think people should have seen. I was quite a strong opponent of every kind of censorship, so the whole thing came together. We had the program. It was very successful. People loved it, and so we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, they loved it with one exception. There wasn't a popcorn machine here to feed the masses that were streaming through the door the night of the
Yes, we were not
streaming.
technically.
No, but we learned our lesson that night.
That's right.
There was popcorn for the next showing. Another aspect of this show is that I've sort of dedicated as a tribute to Walter for his long service to the library, particularly in service of film studies. Not only has the library always had a great selection of books devoted specifically to film history, the posters actually started to collect them back in 1968. It's actually a warehouse in Memphis, Tennessee that just wanted to clear space, and they're selling off a vast collection of old Hollywood posters for $1 a piece. So I took advantage of that. I was in college at that time, and that was the start of the collection. Then, as years later, as I moved to New York City and later to Los Angeles, the collection expanded further through shops in both cities that actually specialized in film memorabilia, posters, books, still photographs, etc. The collection began in 1968. I'd say I probably collected up to about 1988, about 20 years worth of collection. And the theme of them is that they're not collected by either the genre of the films or particularly the stars that were in them. It's not about the star power. It's actually about the directors. And each of the films was directed by one of the men who are considered amongst the superior craftsmen of Hollywood in that day. So I tried to get at least one poster from each of the major directors of that golden age, the 1930s and the 1940s. And this is a sampling of it. The overall collection is actually much larger than this, but this is all that would fit on the wall. So hopefully it'll be a follow-up exhibition in a couple of years if the gallery's available again. But for now, we have about 18 or 20 posters here on display.
I was just interested, would the cost of the subsequent purchases be more than $1?
Yes, yeah, actually, posters like antiques, as time went by, they just became more valuable, particularly when this whole market for collecting them really exploded, I'd say, in the 1970s into the 1980s. So, for instance, the first 40 posters I got cost $40. By the end of the collecting period, a single poster would cost upwards of $300 or $400
Oh my God.
Alone, and I'm sure today they're even more valuable than that, like fine wine that just continuing to age
Absolutely.
gracefully. So.
For those of us who saw the movies, they mean a great deal. For the younger generation, they've never heard of them, probably. So it's a learning experience.
Well, thanks again, Walter, for helping me in every phase of the poster production.
Oh, well, I would like to say, I think the exhibit itself, I think, is quite unique, quite exciting. For anybody who loves films, they'll find something to enjoy just in looking at some of the artwork here. And I think it's a great contribution to the community to have it here in the library, where people can really see it and enjoy it. And hopefully we'll investigate watching some of the films.
Thanks, Walter. Thank you.